I am a few minutes behind schedule today, but I'm here. We are ready to go. Um, not focused as much on how I look today. More focused on getting information out and talking about quite a few things. Good morning, Eric. Good to see you. Glad to see you, friend. Um, what's up, Nancy G? How are you? Hey, Amy. Good morning, Melinda Conchita. Nice to see you. What's up, Stacy D in the place to be? Hey, Doug. I got your text and meant to text you back and then got distracted with the kids and did not. Good morning, Patrice. Good morning, Jess, Carol W, Sherry, Jennifer. Good to see you. Folks, if you are joining me on the Tube of You, the Book of Faces, or the Tube of You, please make sure that you speak. I can't see you guys until you say hello. So, what's up, Sunflower Fish? Good to see you guys. What's up, Melinda, Tech Lady? Evelyn, Jennifer, Red Hot, Blue Nevada, all the things. If you heard that little ding that just came through, that was a message from Raja to the person who said you were able to give some support directly this morning. He's incredibly grateful. Hey, Willie, how are you? What's up, Grammy? Good to see you. Hey, Tracy. Hello, Witch. What's up, Susan? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Leo. Auntie Tinker, Farah, good to see you. Hey, Carla, Carrie, good to see you. Cheryl, how are you guys? Tech Lady, I think I said hi. Tina Noel, Brandy, good to see you. I think I said hi to Witch. Good morning, Carmen. Good morning, Ronnie. Glad to see you guys piling on in here. This will not be the only thing that I talk about today, but I really didn't feel like it was appropriate to put anybody else's images up here beside Miss Viola's. It just didn't seem appropriate to put Trump or Putin or anybody else beside her image. And so I'm going to talk about her and the fact that she passed yesterday. Appreciate you, Blue Nevada. And we're going to talk a little bit about history. And thanks, Blue Honey Pot. And so I just, I feel like this week is a week that, good morning, Tam Bam, is a week that, this is one of those times of year where I really feel like we need to be paying attention to accurate history, especially as, this administration works to dismantle the Department of Education, to change the way that we see and view things and the way that this country has framed history. And so, I thought that today and tomorrow I would take the opportunity to, of course, talk about things that are happening right now in this moment in the country, but also to talk about history and what we could be learning from it versus maybe what we are learning from it, the aversion that we have to accurate history for whatever reason. Um, and, I think that a lot of our answers lie in the information from history. Good morning, find out. Like if we weren't so averse to facts, if we weren't so determined to only stay in the places that make us feel comfortable, we might be able to discover and learn lessons from our previous mistakes as people, as a society, and definitely as a country, and be able to kind of move forward in a much different way. So, I put on a little bit of mascara to try to look like I'm at least awake and alive. I promise you all that I am. I just feel a lot of heavy energy a little bit. When I saw that Miss Viola had passed, it made me a little sad. And, knowing that the Supreme Court of Oklahoma had dismissed her case, for the Tulsa massacre also kind of makes me feel like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And so, good morning, Heather. It's not the only thing that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about all the other stuff, not all the other stuff, to be quite honest, but to talk about a lot of it. But I did want to start here today. And I really just didn't, I felt like putting anybody else on here with her would just not be appropriate. You know what I mean? So anyway, So I want to just kind of go over a couple of things. Good morning, everybody. I'm really glad to see folks coming on in here, and hopefully we can have a great live today. I don't think that that I have a hard stop today. I will verify just to be sure. Remember I told you all yesterday that Thanksgiving is one of those times that, in my family, we don't really do the whole Thanksgiving thing for a lot of different reasons. My dad passed on Thanksgiving Day, and so did my mother-in-law, and so did my godmother. She passed within that same week of Thanksgiving, and all of the things, right? And in true Thanksgiving form, my daughter comes out this morning when I'm taking the kids to school and her to work, and she is just weeping, and I'm like, what is wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? And one of her coworkers was unalived last night with in a pretty major car accident, and she just was like, it's like this thing, you know what I mean? And so she was devastated this morning, and it's just a lot, you know what I mean? So anyway, you know, um, yeah, they worked together for like the last year. And so she got the call. Apparently it was a horrible car wreck. And I want to say 4 or 5 people are hospitalized, but he unalived on the scene and that sort of thing. So, um, you know, Thanksgiving. I don't even know what to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, thanks, the brothers. This is what you call, I don't feel like doing anything to my hair. Didn't even feel like finding a ball cap. I had thrown on my t-shirt, and I was like, oh, look, there's a purple bandana. And I just threw that sucker on. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm not, I didn't know her coworker, but she was definitely like really upset this morning, as you can imagine. So for those of you guys, thanks, Bless, I appreciate it. So for those of you guys who know this Miss Viola Fletcher, she is one of the only 2 remaining survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. And she was 111 years old, 111, for those of you guys who are into that thing, went into the angel numbers. She passed yesterday at the age of 111 years old. And about 4 years ago, she spoke before Congress, and she testified before Congress. And Grayson sends you 11. Yeah. So, yeah, 111, Slim Shady. Yeah. And so she spoke before Congress 4 years ago. And, yeah, and so I have her portion pulled up, but I also have the entire congressional hearing pulled up, and it's 2 hours. So obviously we're not going to listen to the entire thing, but there's a part of it at the beginning. Appreciate you guys for crushing that goal. There's a part of it at the beginning that I want to play for everyone, and I want to point out the language that is used at the beginning of this congressional hearing. And the reason why I want to point it out is because words matter. And the way that we speak and the words that we use play a significant role in perpetuating misinformation and perpetuating inaccurate history, and also avoiding accountability. Okay. Yesterday I was talking a lot about, taking accountability for where we are and how we show up in this world, and the role that each of us plays as individuals and as communities and all the things, right? And I talked about, only giving Trump blame for the things that are in fact Trump, and only giving, our politicians and our elected officials the blame that actually rests on their shoulders, and also recognizing the role and the responsibility that each of us plays. Good morning, Peacekeeper, right? And I also talked about that from a from a religious perspective, because I oftentimes hear people blame it on the devil and blame it on this and blame it on that, when in reality it's just human beings doing what human beings do. And as I talk about all of those things, you're such a typical lip. I don't really know what that means, Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix, you're back. Love it. Look, now you're gone again, just that quick. Bye. I don't have time for that. um, Good morning, Tara Love. But instead of really talking about, instead of taking accountability for the part of it that is us, 100%. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, but I also want to talk about it from a word perspective. Good morning, Kimberly. So alaikum salam for all of my friends that are joining from between the river and the sea. It's good to see you all here, sending lots of love. I know you guys had more rain yesterday. Good morning, Yolanda. For those of you guys who do not know, winter is here. It's here not only in the States, but it's here in Palestine and in Gaza. Thanks, Carla. I appreciate that. And they are having lots of rain, lots of flooding. There are many, many people. I think it's almost 1,985,000 people that are in Gaza that do not have any sort of lodging or or shelter. A lot of it is makeshift stuff, fabrics and sheets and little pieces of tarps put together and things like that. Hey, good morning, Jamie. And so it's just really important for people to realize that wet is oftentimes worse than just cold or snow. When you are wet, there are so many things that can happen in terms of you being sick and ill and all the things. If you are a subscriber and you are on the subscriber side of Discord, I shared a video this morning. I was chatting with Raja and all the progress that he made the other day, sealing up their tent and all the things. It was wiped out again from massive rains, and so he was not. Skin health is definitely a challenge when we are wet. And so, there's just a lot. And I think that also has something to do with my energy that I feel this morning, right? Is that, when I talk to my friends that live there, and hey Dizzy, hey Julia Day, Mama Dukes, and when they use words that are like I feel hopeless or whatever, it really hits differently, because those are people that tend to always find the grace and find the goodness and find the faith and find the hope. And so when I hear things like that, it kind of really does it doesn't feel great. And you want them to be okay. And at the same time, it's not like I'm talking to just anybody here in the States, right? I can say to people here in the States, like, it's okay, it's going to get better, and have faith. And I just don't feel like I have any right whatsoever to tell anyone in Palestine or in Gaza how they should feel. Like, I can't tell them to keep the faith or to be hopeful or to do any of those things, because dear God in heaven, I just don't feel like we can ask them for anything, you know what I mean? For anything. And so my response was, I pray that you find your hope. And until then, I will be the bridge for your hope. And that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's just been all around, has been like a oof kind of day. And so anyway, yeah, which that's it. And Raja is one who doesn't ask for help at all, and but definitely needs it, and has his entire family and all of them relying on him. So a lot of people just I don't think they quite get it. But anyway, all right. So let's talk about some things today. Let me ask you this. So how many of you that are watching are not familiar with the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921? Yeah, Lisa, but he got flooded again really bad last night. Hey, Cheryl, good morning. Um, so they were shoveling out and getting the water out and all that things. Appreciate it, Yvonne. You're not familiar with Deb? Okay. Sunflower, you're not. Pamela, you're not. Okay. So this makes me, I'm so glad that there are people that are still discovering things, and still learning things. And so, um, I want to piggybacking off of you all saying, I'm not familiar. I'm going to play the opening of this congressional hearing from 2021. And, very little, Sean. You only heard about it 2 years ago, Chris. Okay. So this congressional testimony, I want to play the opening. Yeah, this is going to be real history for you today. And just so that you all know, I will be talking tomorrow about the Wampanoag tribe um, in Massachusetts, and I will be talking about, you know, Buenos dias, Mr. Barrios, about how Thanksgiving came to be a thing and what it actually celebrates and how it actually, happened, and understanding that different, yep, some more real history, and that different Native Americans, they approach Thanksgiving different ways. And for me, it's never my place to comment on how they choose to deal with it. My role is to learn the accurate history about it and then be respectful in the way that I choose to do things. So for me, you will not hear me say I celebrate quote unquote Thanksgiving. You'll hear me say that that for me it's a day of gratitude. It's a day to stay grateful and to remember all of the sacrifices. Hey, what's up, Ja? Good to see you. And just to remember all of the things that got here and how we got here. And I think that this part is the part that's really important, because whether I am talking about Miss Viola or whether I'm talking about Thanksgiving, the thing that those two things have in common is an inaccurate portrayal or even an erasure from history. And that is not by chance. And I think that this is one of the things that I really want people to take on and to realize is that the absence of accurate information, the absence of Black Wall Street in your textbooks, the absence of the Wampanoag tribe, the absence of how Thanksgiving came to be. Those things are not by happenstance, right? Salam, Amal. It is intentional. And we can only, this is the thing, you all, let me just say this to you. One of the reasons I am so grateful for the internet and for social media the way that we have it today is because it will be very, very difficult. It will be very difficult to erase, and to frame history the way that we could previously. Textbooks 50 years from now will not be able to make up their own entire version of things because the internet is just too massive. Social media is just too expansive. There are too many of us with voices and with accounts and with the ability to document the accuracy of the accurate events that are currently happening, right? And so for me, I think about that and what an opportunity we have, what a responsibility that we have, what an obligation we have to make sure that we are doing our part in ensuring that we keep that history moving forward. See, Zoe, so here's the thing. Zoe, share with me what you're talking about when you say Trump is already removing history in Philly. Can you share with me what you're referring to? And then I want to kind of give you my thoughts on it, because as soon as I hear you say that, I immediately want to respond. So share with me what you're talking about. Did you rock and roll, mama? Love that for you. So Zoe, share with me what you're talking about when you say Trump is already removing history in Philly. He's closing and changing historical monuments, but that's not removing history. I want people to understand something. Before we had museums, history still existed. Before we had monuments, history still happened. History is not museum and monuments. I want you to think about something for a second, okay? How do you think that Native American children today know the accurate history of their people, of their culture, of their experience? Because that history has been passed down from generation to generation. Long before we had museums and monuments, we had history. Long before taking a monument down or closing a museum does not erase history. The ancestors, the elders, they give us the history. It's the stories that we tell, and that's why it's so important that we tell stories that are accurate. Okay, and it becomes our responsibility. Hey, fire writer, been a minute. It is our responsibility to ensure that we do our part in telling accurate history. And one of the things that I don't think that we do as well as I believe that we could, okay, is I don't believe that we take the responsibility of the future and enough, like heavily enough. Am I making sense? Does anybody know what I mean by that when I say I don't think that we take the responsibility of future generations to the same degree, the same weight of it as our ancestors did? I don't think that many people today think about the responsibility that they have. What do you mean, Lupita? I just said who. So there's no singular person that gets to write the history. There might be people that get to write the history books, but like I just said, it's not the same as what it used to be. People aren't getting their history from Britannica Encyclopedia anymore. Nobody is knocking on your front door selling your mom the latest edition of the Britannica encyclopedias. That's not happening anymore. The internet has become this thing that is massive. And no matter what they do, they can't get rid of it. There's no way to erase it all. The internet is forever, right? And so the ability to whitewash, the ability to change it, frame it, rewrite it, and make it represent what you want is not the same. You know, it's funny because people oftentimes they credit Winston Churchill with saying it's the victor who gets to write history or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You know the phrase. Hold on, let me see if I can find it really quickly. Oh, history is written by the victors. Here's what's so funny about this this phrase, this history is written by the victors. Everybody accredits it. They attribute that quote to Winston Churchill. The funny thing about it is he didn't even say that. He literally stole that shit from someone else. It's literally like even that he didn't write. Even that he did not write. So it's not actually true. He actually rewrote that from some losers. And I forget when I learned this. It was years ago, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, whatever. But it's really crazy. Let me see if I can tell you who it is. So the sentiment is actually about Hermann Goring. And Hermann Goring was Winston Churchill's opponent. That was his enemy in WW2, right? And it was actually Hermann Goring who said it first. So when Winston Churchill began repeating it and people attributed it to him, it really wasn't his. Morning, Mary Shaw, which is just hilarious to me. Appreciate you, Dugald, right? Um, but isn't it funny? Was it in Lies My Teacher Told Me? I don't really remember, but I just remembered reading it, and that's why I just looked it up really quickly. Thanks, Carla. Let me do that real quick. Um, so I'm going to play the beginning of this congressional hearing from 2021, you guys, and I'm literally only going to play like the first 2 minutes, and then I'm going to point some things out to you. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. Let me turn this up. Hope you guys are ready to learn today. You won't learn today. um, oh, it's an ad, of course. Second. Listen. Can you all hear that? Let me see if this one is like louder. What's up, Wasef? Can you hear it fine though? Let me just give me 1 second, guys. Um, Centennial of 1921, Tulsa. It was fine on your end? Okay, well then I'm just going to play it. It might just be me. Okay, cool. Here we go. So this is now one of the members of Congress, and he is now introducing it and saying, we're kind of coming to order. So listen to what he says. Unless you're over 100 years old. Okay, so you guys over here are saying you don't have any sound. Veronica, Kimberly, can you guys hear? Um, no, you can hear me. That's the craziest shit ever. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Um, that's crazy because you should be able to hear because you can hear me. Um, give me a second. Let me just see if this is better. Okay. I'm going to see if you guys can hear better if I play it over here. No, not you guys, them. Um, Shit, I just clicked the wrong button. Give me one.
Here in Southern California, beautiful Southern California.
Oh my God, how did I get to Rick Scott? Like, no, I'm not on Instagram, RTEP. This is some other folks, so give me a second. You can
Some cookies sweeten your holidays.
hold on.
While the wrong ones slow. And lives following the massacre.
Can you guys hear this?
Leslie Benningfield Randall, who accused the city and local entities of fundraising and profiting off the massacre without consideration to the survivors.
Can you guys overhear?
This is about 2.5 hours.
Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess of the subcommittee at any time. I welcome everyone to today's hearing on continuing injustice, the centennial of the Tulsa Greenwood Race Massacre. Before we continue, I want to remind members that we have established an email address and distribution list dedicated to circulating exhibits, motions, etc. to members who might want to offer them at today's hearing. If you'd like to submit such judiciary docs at mailhouse.gov, they will be distributed. Finally, I'd like to ask all members and witnesses, both those in person and those appearing remotely, to mute your microphones when you are not speaking. This will help prevent feedback and other technical issues. For those in the room,
Yes.
I'd like to ask you to keep your face mask on at all times unless you're speaking or unless you're over 100 years old. For those in the room, that'll be our protocol. I now recognize myself for an opening statement.
Listen to this.
Mr. Ellis, Ms. Fletcher, welcome and thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Our hearing today serves two primary purposes. First, it is a commemoration of a milestone anniversary, the centenary of the Tulsa Greenwood Race Massacre of 1921. One of the most painful episodes in our nation's long and tortured history of race relations. Sadly, many Americans today are not even aware that this massacre took place, and I hope that this hearing can serve to educate the public about what happened.
So I'm going to pause right there. So when I listened to this, the first thing that I heard him say, which number one, I was grateful that he did use the word massacre instead of riots, because it was not a riot, it was a massacre. Okay, that was number one. Number two is when he made the statement, sadly, there are many Americans today that aren't aware. I was immediately perturbed by that statement because many Americans today aren't aware because you don't teach it in school. And what I would have liked for him to say, right, since we want to be accurate, right? Thanks, Sammy. What I wanted him to say was, sadly, we did not teach the history of the Tulsa Race Massacre in our history books. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's saying it like it was passive, like it's just this weird coincidence that people don't know about the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this is why it's so important when he says, "Oh, I hope this hearing serves as, a way of informing people." And I'm immediately thinking, yeah, but you're still not doing it right. This is why when we talk about allyship and what that looks like, how important it is for you to talk to the people that you are supposed to be helping. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm going to always make sure that when I'm speaking on behalf of, or not even on behalf of, but when I'm speaking in ally or in support of LGBTQ plus individuals or my friends that live between the river and the sea, right? I'm going to make sure that when I'm speaking in a way that accurately represents why people don't know what they don't know about their situations, about their circumstances, about all of those things. And so this is where I feel like, especially when you are the ally, right? And you are saying, oh, I'm using my position in a way that's going to be a benefit to you, then you have to do it accurately, right? And this is a white man that is saying these things. And so for him, the better way to say that is, hey, listen, and sadly, the United States of America buried this history. We kept it out of our textbooks, out of our history books, out of our classrooms. And as a result, many Americans today do not have an accurate picture of what happened in Tulsa in 1921. I also want him to not say race relations. That's such a bullshit word. I don't like that phrase, race relations. What is that? What does that even mean? When we talk about race relations, I'm not aware the racial relation is one very simple. It's one of chattel slavery in the United States of America. It is one of considering Black and brown people to be less than an entire human being, right? That's the relationship. The relationship is extreme bigotry and prejudice and hatred towards people of another color. Don't say race relations as if we have such strange, right? It sounds like it's an equal level playing field when it is not, right? I have a relationship with my spouse if I'm married, right? So those are our relations, but it's not. So for me, this would be the same thing as talking about relations between Jeffrey and the 14-year-olds. That's not a relationship. That's not a level playing field. The one is an abuser and one is not, right? This is part of this is why language is so important. Right. Relations indicates a give and a take and an equitable place to do that from. And that is not what exists in this country, nor has it ever. And so I wanted to point these things out because the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, but we don't listen for it. And what I am suggesting is that we become intentional about listening for accurate representation of facts. I'm suggesting that we become intentional in the way that we represent facts and call a thing, right? In my best Ayanna Van Zant impression, right? Good morning, Jay Nice. So anyway, let me keep going with him. I'm going to take it back for just a second. Here we go.
I myself was not aware. Chairman John Conyers had a hearing early in my term in Congress, probably about 10, 12 years ago, and edified me and many in Congress. John Conyers needs to be recognized today for his commitment to justice and to the memory of the race massacre and for improvements in Tulsa.
So he's stumbling over those words, if you all can't tell in the pauses that he's saying. So he's saying John Conyers needs to be recognized for his commitment to whatever. So John Conyers, of course, is a Black man who was in Congress. Okay. Right. Pin 10, words matter. And so this would be automatically my question as I'm listening to this. And I want you guys to just follow along with me. Is he said, I myself was not aware. Right. I myself was not aware until Representative John Conyers edified me 10 to 12 years ago. My immediate question is, what did you do with that knowledge after that? after this Black man edified you and shared with you about the Tulsa Race Massacre in 1921, right? And you've now had that information for over a decade. So that means if this hearing was in 2021, you discovered this, you learned about this at a minimum in 2010 and 2011. So my immediate question is, what did you do with that information? What type of legislation have you introduced? What efforts have you made to make sure that other people are aware? When he edified you and he made you aware of these things, what did you do with that information? Did you take it back to your communities? Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't show me, Rachel. No, actually, he's in Tennessee, Rachel. It's Steve Cohen. It's Steve Cohen in Tennessee. And so this is, again, one of the things that we talk about. Okay, so let me ask a question. Let me just survey you guys that are listening to me right now. How many of you all have learned information that you did not know in the last year about Israel and Palestine and Israel and the United States of America? Because I can say that's definitely me. How many of you all have learned information about Israel and Palestine and Israel and the United States that you didn't know about? So can anybody guess what my next question is? What have you done with that information? What have you done with that information since then, right? How many people have you made aware of that information? Where have you been talking about it, right? And then how diligently? You hear what I'm saying? And this is the part that's really, really important. Oh, I have to share you guys this. I'm going to give you a little bit of a funny, but it's great. So I saw this video today, and there was a guy who was saying, I think I figured out a way to teach my children about Palestine and the illegal occupation of Palestine, right? And he asked his children, he said, when was the Nakba, right? When was the first ethnic cleansing of Palestine? And his children said 1948. And he said, when was Palestine illegally occupied? And the kids went 6, 7. And he said, and when was Jerusalem illegally occupied? And they said 6, 7. And he starts asking all of the other things, because we know in 1967, quite a few things happened with regard to Israel and Palestine and the West Bank and in Gaza and all of that. But it was so perfect. He kept asking all these different things, right? And the kids in the house kept going 6, 7. And he was like, I solved it. But it's so smart. So like one of the things that I think would be great, I'm going to see if the kids are down for it today. I want to kind of do the same thing and just recreate it and ask the kids. And because I don't know if Dominic will be down. I'm pretty sure Bella and Mila will be down. But literally for me to be asking them those questions and them to do this 6, 7. What a great way. What a great way to have Gen, ABC, whatever they are, know about it. You know what I mean? So anyway, so what I'm asking this congressman in my head is, okay, so you learned about it 10, 12 years ago. What have you done with it? So yeah, so 6, 7 is from a rap song, right? And so what happened is there's a little bitty white boy who's at a basketball game, like his middle school basketball game. And the crowd is just doing da-da-da-da-da, right? And so they're taking cameras and this little blonde-haired boy goes 6, 7, and it went viral. And now all of the kids are everywhere are going 6, 7. And now y'all know there's another one now where they go 41, 4-1, whatever. But yes, so that is the story of 6, 7. And so, but it's from a song originally, but this kid went viral and that's where it came from. But anyway, using it to teach the history of Palestine was just brilliant. You know what I mean? So you saw it in South Park? Yeah. See, I'm just saying. Yeah, that's where it came from, LB Donna. Yeah, genius, right? Blessed and grateful, genius. So anyway, I paused what he's saying to simply say, what are we doing with the information? I literally want to say to him, because here's what I know. If you've known about it for 10 years, for 12 years, and you are still stumbling and stuttering over it, you're not talking about it. Because if you were talking about it, it would simply roll off your tongue. Right? If you had repeatedly said the Tulsa Race Massacre, you wouldn't be stumbling over the words, right? The stumbling of your speech tells me you haven't done shit with that information because you're not comfortable. You're not comfortable enough talking about it, right? And so this is how we know. You know what I mean? This is how we can tell. It's the same thing when I hear people say the N-word. If that damn thing just rolls off your tongue, I know you say it. If it just rolls right on out of your tongue, oh, I know that's something you say. You can't tell me no different. If you don't stutter and hesitate over that word, it is in your vocabulary, right? Just saying. So let me play the rest of what he says.
Second purpose of this hearing is to highlight many ways that the Black community of Tulsa continues to suffer from the effects of the massacre. Indeed, as the hearing's title suggests, the injuries inflicted on the Greenwood community have continued to compound through the succeeding decades since the massacre, often directly because of actions taken by government officials. Over the course of May 31 and June 1 of 1921,
right, Amy,
a white mob burned to the ground the Greenwood community of Tulsa, one of the most prominent and thriving Black communities in the country at the time, often referred to as the Black Wall Street. The white mob, consisting of thousands of people, murdered Black residents, looted their property, and burned more than 1,000 homes, churches, schools, and businesses. At least one credible estimate put the number of those killed at 300 people. Recently, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, visited Tulsa, visited the memorial, and you could see the emotion in him as he toured it.
Yeah, Jay Buchanan, he said he did not know about Tulsa until this hearing was in 2021. He didn't know about it until, he said, 10 or 12 years prior. So that would have been, hey, River Ray, that would have been 2011, 2009. That would have been when he learned. No, he is reading. He is reading, Linda. He's literally turning it page by page as he's reading it. 100%. Yeah, he's reading it.
Worse still, that mob, fueled by racial fear and hatred, was aided and abetted by some of the very government officials who were supposed to be protecting the innocent residents and property owners of Greenwood. In other words, the massacre did not simply represent a negligent failure by government authorities to maintain order. Rather, agents of the local and state governments were active participants in the crime. This happened too many places and too many times in our history, but never, I think, as significantly as it did in Tulsa.
So when he says never as significantly as it did in Tulsa, I disagree. I mean, listen. So, okay. I just want to, let me ask you all this. Somebody tell me what happened in Philly. Somebody tell me what happened in Philly and in what year it happened. Yeah, Stacy, you don't get to tell me, girl, you Black and you live in Pennsylvania. The Move. Yep, in 1985. So how many of you all don't know what Move is and what happened? Because so in 1985, that would have made me 12 years old, right? So I was an adolescent.
More 1986, sire. Okay. So listen. So in May of 1985, the city of Philadelphia's police department dropped an improvised boom boom on residential homes that housed the Black revolutionary organization MOVE. So it was the MOVE organization. Yeah, but here's my thing. Tomas, he's saying this in 2021. He's saying this in 2021. And so let me just say this, folks. I'm not measuring any of these things by the number of deaths, because that's not, for me, always the accurate measure of how devastating or horrendous something is. And let me just, here's what I mean by that. Right. It's not the qualifier of how traumatic it is. Okay. So when I look at what happened in Philly in 1985, okay, and there were 11 people that were unalived, right? 60 homes that were destroyed, right? And of those 11 people, 5 of them were children, right? Salam, Jay. And so obviously Black Wall Street was 300 people. So it was way more people. It was also 1921. It is so sad to me. It is so devastating to me that the city's police department, that the city's government in 1985 dropped an improvised boom boom on residents, that they unalived 11 people and 6 children. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? When I'm bringing these things out, it's not to discount any of them. And this is what I think the mistake is. I want us to stop comparing tragedies. I want us to stop comparing the traumas. They are devastating, right? I want us to stop negating. Yeah, it's a recent history. It's in my lifetime, right? And I just think that it's really important that we don't, hey, William, I think it's so important that we acknowledge the stuff that still hit me. We have to talk about all of the affluent, successful Black communities in this country that were intentionally flooded by this country, that were intentionally destroyed by this country, because they did not want, when we came through the Reconstruction period, Black people were successful. Like, we were fine with segregation, and what white people were not fine with it. But what I will say is that there was definitely an element, there was a part of Black life that was very, very successful without being integrated into the white world, right? Lake Lanier, North Carolina is absolutely one of them, right? And I think it's just really important that, but so you understand, to have these very affluent, to have these very well-dressed, well put together, as many might say, quote unquote, well-spoken Negroes. Oh no, they might actually be real human beings. People might begin to see them as equal. People might begin to see them as worthy, right? People might be able to, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that this is the thing that people don't realize. A lot of times you will hear the elders criticize our kids today for in some of the communities, for the way that they dress and the way that they carry themselves and the way that they speak, and all of those things, because there was a measure. Y'all, there's this one video that always bothers me. It's not the videos. So let me say it like this. Images of lynchings, images of fire hoses, images of dogs. Those, of course, bother you, right? And there's this one image. There's a well-dressed black man. He's in his suit. He's got his hat on, and he is walking chin up, head held high, as dignified as you can be. And these white men are doing their absolute worst to get him to respond, right? They're pushing him. They're bumping him. They're knocking him down. He keeps getting up, dusting himself off, and he just keeps walking, head held high, chin up, as if, you're not going to get me to react, because once I react, right, you now have an excuse to do whatever kind of atrocity to me that you want. And that's the one that bothers me the most. It is the one that bothers me the most because you can see the fight in him. Can you imagine the constant pick myself up? I know I could whip your fucking ass, right? But I'm not. But I won't let them make me be less than I am, right? I won't. And that is what I see. Do y'all remember over the last year or so that we have been watching Palestine, and for many of my community, the last 6 months or so, and we've talked about the haircuts, or we've talked about the them still lining their face, and still, the appearance is still, listen, it's refusing to let them take their dignity. It's the refusal of letting them take their dignity. And I think about that, and it is sad to see people today willfully, freely, and in advance give away their dignity. Give it away. Because they don't have any for themselves. And then at the same time, I go, and would you blame people if they got to that place? Because listen, let me ask you this. How long do I hold on to my dignity while I'm still being starved and beaten? How long do I hold on to my dignity while I'm still being thrown in jail? How long do I hold on to my dignity while they're still bombing my schools and my hospitals? How long do I hold on to my dignity when it's not getting me anywhere? How long? So I can't be mad either. Yeah, I agree with that, Motor Mouth. And let me just say this. So, like, I've said this quite a bit, and I really do believe this in many, many ways. I think one of the things that we learned as Black and brown people in this country was we learned Black pride. I don't know how well we learned love of Black self. And the reason why I say that is that had we really mastered love of Black self, the desire to assimilate, the desire to integrate, the desire to be accepted, right? The desire to straighten the hair, the desire to speak, the desire to, right? Wouldn't be there. And there would be an absence of violence amongst each other, even though that is proximity, even though that is there, right? There's a clip I want to play for y'all. So how many of you all are familiar with Wendell Pierce? Do you all know the actor Wendell Pierce? I saw this clip of him, and he was on. Nope. Okay, he's a brilliant Black actor, and let me tell you something. I saw this clip. Yeah, the Wire. I saw him on this episode. You love him, William? Okay, so I saw him on Bill Maher. Yep, Ramona, you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. Y'all know where I'm going. Okay, so I'm going to play this clip for you, and I want you to hear what he says, because I would have listened. I could have thrown a Bible at him. I was like, you better preach. So listen to this clip right here. Give me a second. Y'all know there's going to be a damn ad first, because right. All right. So
But you have to realize that, yes, the involvement of violence in Black folks comes from that long history that the president was talking about, that we have to remember that we learned from some of the best. They had some white boys.
Hold on. I don't want just this piece. I want the whole clip. Give me a second. Wait. Stop. I don't want that from you. Give me a second. Here we go. The conversation is about violence in America. Okay. That is the conversation. And they are talking about Black violence, right? So listen to what he says. Whoops.
You have to realize that, yes, the involvement of violence in Black folks comes from that long history that the president was talking about, that we have to remember that we learned from some of the best. They had some white boys came over here that did the first beheadings in Point Coupee, Louisiana, where I'm from. Slave insurrection, that was the way you dealt with it. Tuskegee syphilis incident. We're going to see how Black men die if they have syphilis, but we pretend we treat them with penicillin, and we're just going to watch the pathology of how they die. Now, that wasn't back 200 years ago. That was 1930 to 1974. We were talking about giving these wonderful blankets to the Native Americans infected with smallpox as they walked on that trail of tears just to see how they die and to eliminate their population so we can take all of that land. So the violence that is in America has come from a very learned position that was brought here by some Caucasian folks. All right? So now, when it comes to the NFL, you have Black men who are taking advantage of this opportunity to go there. So for every 1, 2, or 3 that may have been in the news because of violence, there are another 2,000 that deport themselves as gentlemen, as husbands, as fathers, and as great professionals. So we must remember them also. Okay.
Listen, I just need to pause right there. He said, we learned it. Who did we learn it from? Who brought that particular type of violence here? Who perpetrated the violence against Black and brown people? Listen, if you can be upset with me if you want to, but I'm going to play it again.
You have to realize that, yes, the involvement of violence in Black folks comes from that long history that the president was talking about, that we have to remember that we learned from some of the best. They had some white boys came over here that did the first beheadings in Point Coupee, Louisiana, where I'm from. Slave insurrection, that was the way you dealt with it. Tuskegee syphilis incident. We're going to see how
2014
if they have syphilis, but we pretend we treat them with penicillin, and we're just going to watch the pathology of how they die. Now, that wasn't back 200 years ago. That was 1930 to 1974. We were talking about giving these wonderful blankets to the Native Americans infected with smallpox as they walked on that trail of tears just to see how they die and to eliminate their population so we can take all of that land. So the violence that is in America has come from a very learned position that was brought here by some Caucasian folks. All right? So now,
Desi Terry.
When it comes to the NFL, you have Black men who are taking advantage of this opportunity to go there. So for every 1, 2, or 3 that may have been in the news because of violence, there are another 2,000 that deport themselves as gentlemen, as husbands, as fathers, and as great professionals. So we must remember them also. Okay. So, but you know, but yes, people are responding to that. They see that image of that black man. You know, one of the MacArthur Foundation fellows that just won is a psychologist, Jennifer Eberhardt from Stanford, who deals with racial messaging and inequalities that people is either learned or subconscious. That when you see me
Right.
in a certain situation, you think violence. If they see you in a certain situation, people don't see violence. So the image of the black man being violent has been perpetuated for a long time.
A rebuttal from the whites.
Well, let me say this.
So here's the other part of that what he's talking about in reference to Stanford. So how many of you all are familiar with the Stanford study that they did where they literally were measuring the reaction that people got to simply a face, not an angry face, not a happy face, but a white face and a black face. And they had white people, they had black people. And what they did was they were measuring the fear response in your brain. Now, do you know what's crazy about this experiment? Do you know what's crazy about this study? Is that the fear response that happened was like 64% towards the black face, the black male face instead of the white face, but it was 63% of the time in black people. So listen, so here's what we learned. What we learned is that the media, the barrage of media, the portrayal of black people, especially black men, as scary, as violent, as threatening, was successful, not just to white people, but also to black people. And when did that begin? We began to see that with Birth of a Nation, right? So when you talk, and this is why they love to talk about black on black crime. Listen, you intentionally surrounded us with images. And listen, people are still people. We are hardwired to survive. That is what we are hardwired to do, is to survive. And so when you spend from the time that you are born into this world, right, and you are surrounded by images and messaging and media that portrays a certain type of individual to be violent, to be threatening, to be scary, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color you are or what color what matters is that's the image. And so that is why you see black people as scared of that portrayal as you did white people. It's literally a Stanford study. And it's absolutely wild to see. You know, I wish we had finished it, but so many things happened. So we started in the book club that I have with my subscribers. We were reading this book called Bias and Blind Spot. It's called The Hidden Biases of Good People, right? And it was all about our levels of bias and how they create blind spots where we just don't see how we see things or how we portray things and whatever. And it was this book is so good because it just talks about the impact that our unconscious bias has and the way it just shows up. And especially like in healthcare settings and in different types of settings. And so it's such a good book, but there's, so it's written by these Harvard professors and these other folks. And there's an implicit bias website that you can go to. You really want to be brave? Go to this website. The link is somewhere in that damn link tree of mine. And you can actually take your own little quiz that will show you your implicit bias. There's a political one, there's a gender one, there's a race one, there's a religion one, there's an ethnicity one. Like there's all types of different ones. And we did it on Zoom. And I'm telling you, it is something else to see. And so like for me, I think mine, you all did it with me. Yep, you did it with me. It was on one of we started going through it. And that night I put the link to the implicit bias site on, and then we all took the political bias one. And here's what's so crazy is, so some people got a Republican president and a Democratic president. Some people got a Republican and a Republican. But what it does is after you get all the images that it shows to you, it shows you, do you have a bias one way or the other towards either a political to like one or the other, right? And so maybe we'll do another one of these. Maybe after we get on the other side of the holiday this week, we'll do another one. We'll hop on a Google Meet together, and we will do the implicit bias test, and we'll all do them together so we can kind of talk about them. But this is part of the work. In my humble opinion, and I am not a scholar, I am not a whatever, right? I'm definitely not a Stanford whatever. But here's what I believe. I believe that in order to most effectively, most productively do this work in terms of unpacking, right? Not only the history that we have not been taught, but the implicit bias that allows it to exist, the implicit bias that perpetuates it and carries it forward. In my opinion, we have to do that work together, right? And to do it with the least amount of judgment as possible. And that's the challenging part, because most people do not want to say to each other, you think I'm ahead of the curve on doing the work? Maybe. But that's also been like a personal. So like, here's the thing for me, left of center, it was something that I just couldn't not do. Like when I really started to go, this was the place for me. Maybe this will be different for you, but this was the place for me. I think most of us know who we are and why we are the way we are. Would most of you agree that you know who you are? You know your shortcomings, you know your faults, and you know why they are the way they are. You know what trauma you experienced. You know what sadness you've had. You know what abandonment you had. You know what trauma you've experienced. Like, you know it. And that's usually the place where most people stop. We know who we are. We know why we got there. And then we stop. And we use the why to justify the how. I am this way because of this. And that justifies it. And then that's where most people stop, right? But follow me. That's not enough. That's just the beginning. Like that, this stuff makes me excited. That's just the beginning. Because it's not enough to know why I am the way I am. Then I have to ask myself, yeah, but is this how I want to be? I know that I am this way. And it might be justifiable for me to be that way. The question is that who I truly want to be? Because if it is not, then I have to do the work to be someone different. Right? And that's the part that most people don't embark on. Right? And so, like, I'm going to give you just a couple of examples. All right. So you are talking to someone that is a survivor of childhood SA. You are talking to someone who was raped in the military, like full on, as well as being like physically assaulted in the military. Right. So just on those standards alone, it would be justifiable if I was like, fuck men. No, thank you. You're dangerous. I don't like you. No, you are not safe. That would be justifiable, right? That would be justifiable. And is that who I want to be? Do I want to walk around this world and miss out on potentially phenomenal human beings because they happen to be men? Right? I can do the same thing when it comes for Black and brown people with white people in this country. Let me just be very clear. It would be totally justifiable if Black and brown people in this country were like, fuck all white people and fuck the police and fuck the government. Right? Because historically speaking, you are not on our side. Right? I get that. Got it. And then what happens? Well, but Tomas, there's a difference. So when you say many unfortunately do on both sides, I got to stop you, because there has never been a situation in the United States of America where the government has been run by Black people and used to lock up white people. There has never been a time in the United States of America when the government has been run by Black and brown people and used to unalive white people. It is not many people do on both sides. They are not the same thing. And you absolutely have to stop doing that. That's that whole there's good people on both sides bullshit. Stop that. It is not the same thing. I don't know what you're talking about, Janice, when you say the before movement. It's not, listen, they are not the same thing, people. This is why, so let me just be clear. This is why Black people say to you unequivocally, in the United States of America, Black people cannot be racist. And the reason why they say that, and I want to be clear about something, Black people can absolutely be bigoted. Listen to me. Black people can absolutely be bigoted. They can be prejudiced all day long. What they cannot do is be racist. And the reason they cannot be racist is because racism requires a power dynamic, a power structure in which you can oppress, suppress a particular group of people while elevating your group of people. And Black people in the United States of America have never, ever had that power in this country. And that is the difference. We must get very clear about the words that we use and what they mean. Bias is different than prejudice, is different than bigotry, is different than racism. And people oftentimes use them interchangeably, and they are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. Okay? And so when we talk about this, so somebody said something to me about Korean women. Hold on, let me see. 4B movement, Korean women who are refusing to have children. I don't think anything about that. I think if Korean women don't want to have children, don't have children. Like, this is the thing. When people say, what do you think about somebody else's movement? Listen, do what works for you. That's not for me. I have no dog in that fight. I'm not Korean. It's not my movement. I don't have an opinion about it. Do you? Right? Bias is inevitable, Tomas. Bias is inevitable. It's not that bias is acceptable. Bias is inevitable. You have bias. You have bias. You have a type, do you not, Tomas? Right? So you have bias. You prefer straight hair over curly hair. You prefer apples over oranges. You prefer sweet over sour. You have whatever. Bias is not inherently bad. Bias is about just an underlying. Now, is there negative bias? Yes. But then it becomes your responsibility to examine that bias. Where does it come from? Why do you have it? What is it keeping you from? Is it causing harm? Not all bias is bad. Okay? Prejudice. What is prejudice? Prejudice is a prejudgment about someone or a group of people without getting to know them. That is what bias is. I mean, that's what prejudice is. It's a prejudgment. Let me just tell you right now, every single person listening to my voice prejudges. Every single one of us does. I know for sure I do. Let me just tell you right now. Let me see your ass with a pickup truck, an American flag on the back, a big ass beard, and you talk like this. I am prejudging the absolute fuck out of you. I am, until I know different. I am. Listen, let me click on your social media profile and it says conservative, Christian, Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I am prejudging you. I am. I am. Now, the key is, what do I do with that prejudgment? They talk like this, Yvette. You don't know I'm from Northeast Tennessee? No, prejudice is not just from past experience. Prejudice, we build in prejudice based on our entire environment around us. I don't need somebody to hang my ass from a tree to learn the lessons that somebody else learned. Nope. Nope. I can learn from other people. Right? But it's so here's my thing. So for me, here's the key. When I prejudge, that means what I'm doing is I'm going to say, okay, this is my immediate take. And I'm going to just make sure that I stay in a place that doesn't make me vulnerable until I see if that thing is what I prejudge them to be. And that's the difference. So if you have a prejudgment, and then that prejudgment keeps you from discovering who someone else is, that's different. That's when it becomes negative. That's when it becomes limiting. That's when it cuts us off from each other. Right? Can I tell y'all how I prejudged yesterday? So I had taken the kids to school yesterday. I was taking my daughter to work, and there was a Jeep in front of me, and this Jeep had a tire on the back. And I happened to look, and I was like, that damn tire has you know how they put the coverings on your tires? Y'all know what I'm talking about? You know how you put the little tire on your cover and it has like a picture on the back? Okay, y'all, listen. This is how quick I went. Listen, I said, damn, they got a QAnon symbol on the back of their Jeep tire. And it was the skull, like the half of it with the American flag, right? Straight ass QAnon. I said, I'll be damn. I said, that's QAnon. That's a QAnon person right there. I said, that's a damn Republican all day. That is MAGA. Listen, I went from QAnon to they are definitely MAGA. Then I looked at the license plate and it had the veteran on it. And I said, that's a veteran. I said, shit. They was probably January 6th. And I bet they got recruited by Roger Stone and they were part of the signal chat for Friends of Roger Stone. I went all the way. I said, shit. I made a whole story, Conchita. I made a whole story in 30 seconds flat. I said QAnon, veteran, January 6th, Roger Stone, signal chat. Doom. And I took a picture of the license plate just in case some shit ever pops off. That part's my PTSD. Whew. No, we were driving. But this is the thing, right? But here's the thing. I know enough about me to know how my brain got all the way from A to Z. And I know it's like somebody asked me when I had in my subscriber section, I had I had shared a picture of the girls' room, and somebody saw that their bed was by a window, and somebody goes, "You don't live on the first floor, do you?" And I said, "Absolutely not. My PTSD would never." My PTSD would never allow me to be on the first floor, right? But here's the thing. Now, I can laugh at it. I can chuckle at the awareness that I have, right? Now, did I do anything crazy? Did I make a gesture? Did I follow that person? No, because it was an instantaneous like, ooh. And let me just tell you something, you all. In the absence, listen to me. I learned this from Brene Brown, and she's brilliant. So listen to me when I say this. In the absence of data, we make up stories. And as human beings, most of the time, the story is negative. Yeah, listen, my brain said danger, girl, right? So we do. So let me just, I'll share it with you. So follow me. When you were in school and somebody, and your name gets called over the intercom and it says, Cam, you're wanted in the principal's office. Or today, if you're at work and they say, hey, the boss wants to see you in his office. The first thing you do is go, ooh, what did I do wrong? What could I possibly be coming for? What did I do wrong? Did I not take someone in? Did I miss a deadline? Am I about to be fired? In the absence of data, we make up stories. And most of the time, that story is negative. Right? In the absence of data, we make up stories. The key is, what do you do with that? And so I used to have on my little dry erase board, I used to have SFD, shitty first draft, because our first draft is going to be shitty. It's going to be negative because it is self-preservation, Jennifer. Exactly, right? In the absence of data, we make up stories and is typically negative. That's your shitty first draft. Throw it out and then create the draft that you want. Yeah, hypervigilance is for survival. And listen, you're never going to turn it. Listen, this is the thing. So Cat Herding said hypervigilance is for survival and it's hard to turn off. You're never going to turn it off. You are hardwired for survival. You are hardwired for survival. You're never going to turn hypervigilance off. What you want to do is tone it down, right? So what you don't want is for that hypervigilance to become a saboteur where it sabotages your entire life. Hypervigilance can be a good thing in small degrees, in small amounts, right? Don't be walking around here like danger ain't around nowhere. Right? I need you to learn how to look both ways before you cross the street. Hypervigilance is good in small doses. Moderation is everything. But when that hypervigilance, when anything done in extremes for too long is going to have a negative impact. Whether that's dieting, whether that's overeating, whether that's exercising, whether that's sitting your ass on the couch. This is why mindfulness and self-awareness is so important. Because when you become aware of what you do and how you do it, and you become mindful of what you're thinking, and you become mindful of what your triggers are. I used to tell people all the time, I used to be crazy. And what I highly recommend is that you get to know you're crazy. Every single one of us. So you know how people will say, oh, I could never unalive somebody. I don't believe that. I believe all of us have the capacity under the right set of circumstances to do really horrible shit. I think everyone has the capacity within them, right? And you need to get to know what those triggers are. People who do not know, people who do not become aware of their capacity, people who do not become aware, those are the people who all of a sudden end up running over their husband twice in the damn parking lot. Y'all remember the dentist in Texas, right? Y'all hear me though? So this is the thing, okay? This is where we're back to talking about accountability. We're back to talking about being responsible for who you are and how you show up in this world. Especially when you're a congressman, especially when you're, but when you're anybody. If we all did this work and became accountable for ourselves, holy shit. No, McSpike, I don't believe that people are born innately good or innately bad or innately evil. I don't. I believe that people are born. And I think that people are a combination of nature and nurture and whatever they feed. What's that Native American story about the person with two wolves inside them, right? And it just depends upon which one you feed the most as the one that, takes over. Yeah, see, I'm just saying. I saw a comedian today and he was talking and he said, I went to therapy and my psychiatrist prescribed, what did he say? Oh, my psychiatrist prescribed gratitude. And what do you know? That shit worked. He said, I used to be like, oh my God, life is so horrible and things are so bad. He said, and what do you know? When I just, started going, oh, it's not as bad as it was. And oh, look how, gosh, I'm so grateful I have this thing. And he said, what do you know? After telling myself that 4 times a day, by the end of the day, my brain was like, you know what? It's not that bad. He said, that's so irritating. But again, it's about becoming responsible for our thoughts. And it's not about ignoring the reality. You can be aware of something and not reinforce it and not look for it. What you seek, you will find. What you seek, you will find. So look for the good. It doesn't mean you ignore the bad. It doesn't mean that you pretend like the bad isn't there, but you look for the good. Confirmation bias. Absolutely. You feel like you went to a humanities sermon today? Sorry, that was not the intention, right? You say toxic masculinity, narcissism is allergic to accountability. Here's what I would say about that. I don't know that it has to be toxic masculinity because I think there is such a thing as toxic femininity, right? I think that toxic anything is allergic to accountability. I think most people use the word narcissism without having a clear understanding of what it actually means, right? There's a difference between someone who has narcissistic traits and tendencies to someone who is clinically diagnosed as a narcissist. And most people are out here claiming that people have been clinically diagnosed to some shit that we don't even know what it means. They are not the same thing. Just saying, folks. And you know what I find is that most people are interested in figuring out what everybody else is, but very few people want to figure out what they are. Right. Definitely not enough. Right. Listen, most people are so busy trying to figure out what's wrong with everybody else that people are avoiding what's going on with them. And what if there's nothing wrong with you? What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you stopped putting things into right and wrong? What if they just simply were what they are? Then you can make changes, right? Yeah, narcissist has definitely become a buzzword. And most people want to call their ex a narcissist because they don't want to take responsibility for choosing that person. Right? If I could just make you a narcissist, then I don't have to be responsible for choosing you. Because it's not me, it's you. But the reality is that most people are ignoring the red flags and then we get mad, right? Most people see that the red light is on the stove. You see the red light is on the stove, which means your ass knows that the stove is hot. Now, that red light by itself might not tell you exactly what is hot, right? You might not know it's the front left, the front right, the back left, the back. You might not know it's the oven, but something is hot. But what do y'all do? You ignore that the red light is on and start touching every damn thing and then get mad when you get burnt. Sure, Calta. What I said is, in the absence of data, we make up stories. That's what we do. So Lisa, you said, what if both are true? Yours was a narcissist. I didn't see it because I was 16 and still chose him. Stop. What do you mean? What if both are true? What do you mean? What if then both are just true? Somebody can be a narcissist, you cannot see it, and you can still choose them. But I promise you, if you ended up hurt, it is because when you did see it, you didn't leave. If you left when you saw it, there would be no issue. Like, I have a rule in my life. I have a rule. Appreciate you, Nader, who. I have a rule. I don't like rules. I have a guideline. I have a guide in my life, right? And so this is the thing. So I am very aware of all the parts of me. Okay. So I am aware that there is a part of me that could absolutely, and back in the day would have no issue, like lighten your ass up, gut you like a pig, sit on you and eat a Big Mac. Like if you took me to that place, you know, right? But I have retired that part of me. Notice I didn't say I killed it off because I'm a whole ass person. And so that part of me is never going to leave me. It is part of who I am. I developed, so listen to me, I developed a way of being for survival. You hear me, y'all? I developed a way of being for survival. We have trauma responses. We learn ways of being, right? Everybody does. The key is when you learn different tools, you no longer need the way that you were. Right? I didn't have, listen, you will never be able to shame me for my crazy. Ever. You want to know why? Because the crazy part of me is the reason I'm alive and breathing today. Because that bitch didn't let anybody kill us off. You follow me? The times when I wasn't sure, I still wanted to be here. She is the reason I'm still here. You'll never make me ashamed of her. She might have done some crazy things, but without her, I would not be here. The thing is, I just don't need her anymore. I just don't need her anymore. I have developed other ways of being. I have different tools in my life, right? I meditate, I ground, I have music, I dance, I have grandbabies. I have different ways of being, right? And so, like, this is a literal exercise that I did. I literally closed my eyes and pictured my heart. Like, my heart is like a little bit of hotels. It's like got a little different rooms and stuff, right? And so I gave her a retirement room. And I pictured everything she would need to be happy in that retirement room. Y'all have heard me talk about this before. She has everything she needs to be happy. And every now and again, somebody will like knock on her door and she'll be like, girl, you need me? And I'll be like, no, I'm good. She'd be like, you sure? Because like I can take these pajama pants off. You need me? And I'm like, girl, no, I got it. I got it. But I'm glad to know you still there in case I ever do. Right? But that's the key, right? And so listen, and people, and listen, I pay attention. I pay attention to the people in my life that make her check on me. You see what I'm saying? I pay attention. If you can make her be like, do I need to come out of retirement? I don't need you. I have outgrown you. Nope. You don't serve a purpose in my life other than to make me aware that you are not for me. Yeah, I'm more of a let me take off my earrings kind of person, right? I'm just saying, Wadme, right? And so listen, but folks, this is all about the work. And believe it or not, you all, doing this work is what's actually going to save us politically. Doing this work is how we get to the place where we can create good policy. Doing this work is what enables us to actually communicate across the aisles. It's not about changing somebody else's political party. It's about doing our own individual work. Because when we do our own individual work as a collective, all of a sudden we are healed and operating in a different place. And here's the thing, when we do that, then do you forgive those that did you dirty and be friends again? Tomas, I can't tell you that. For me, so this is something that a friend of mine, his name is Phil Agrios. He said this, this is one thing that I took from knowing him. And to me, it just, as soon as I heard it, I was like, ooh, it clicked and it made so much sense for me. He said, when you discover gratitude, forgiveness becomes unnecessary. Let me say that. Let me say it again. Let me say that again. Listen, y'all. When you discover gratitude, forgiveness becomes unnecessary. Nope. I don't need a long-handled spoon, Tori. Nope. Listen, y'all. Listen. When I become grateful for who I am today, the lessons that I have learned for the human being that I am, I don't need to forgive anybody for what they did to me, because what they did to me is part of who I became. I can't need to forgive anybody if I'm grateful for who I am. If I am truly grateful, forgiveness isn't necessary. I don't have to be grateful that you did that thing to me, but I can be grateful for who I am. I can be grateful for what it taught me. I can be grateful for who I became in spite of it. I can be grateful. And when you find the gratitude, forgiveness becomes unnecessary. This is how I deal with who we have in leadership and the things that are happening right now. I don't ever need to forgive Donald Trump, ever. I am not happy that people have suffered and been hurt and all of that. I am grateful. I am grateful that the cracks and the holes in our democracy have been exposed, because we now have the opportunity to fill them and shore them shits up. Forgiveness is not even necessary because I have the gratitude. When you find the gratitude, forgiveness becomes unnecessary. Right? And so, do you understand how, if we take this conversation and we apply this conversation to the education around Miss Viola Fletcher and the Tulsa Race Massacre, we can get into that conversation without needing blame, without needing shame, without needing forgiveness, without needing anger, without needing hatred. What if we could get into these conversations and we could acknowledge the history without needing to blame, without needing to shame, without needing to justify, without needing to deflect? What if we could just say, this is the thing, right? And where can we find the gratitude? Not in what happened, but in where we are right now in this moment. Because the truth of the matter is, so human nature, one of the things that we oftentimes will do is we want to know why. We want to know why people do a thing. Tomas, remind me to come back to what you just said about scare you to trust people. I'll get there in just a second. So, right, left of center. It's like, this is what happened. Now, what is the work? What happened? So what existed that allowed the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921 to happen? What existed? And then what is the work necessary to eradicate it, to shift it, to transmute it into something different so that we don't repeat it? Because we will repeat history. Listen, y'all, we will repeat history until we learn the lesson. Y'all do understand that we are learning the same lessons because we never got them. We didn't learn to love people unconditionally, even when they're different than us. We didn't learn it. When I say we, I'm talking about the United States of America. We didn't learn it with Native Americans. We didn't learn it with African Americans. We didn't learn it with LGBTQIA people. We're not learning it today with immigrants. It's the same lesson. And we are just repeating it with different groups of people. We are just repeating it with different groups of people because we haven't learned it. Now, Tomas said it is so hard to trust people again. And then Wadmi said, especially if they've hurt you before. So you all do realize that trusting people is just a myth. That's not some shit that, listen, okay, I'm going to give you a little nugget. You ready? This is a Dani special. You ready? When you trust yourself, it no longer becomes necessary to trust other people. When you truly learn to trust yourself, it is no longer necessary to trust other people. Because when you trust yourself, you will listen to your intuition. You will listen to your discernment. You will see the red flags and pay attention. You will see the green flags. You can't trust yourself, though, if you don't know who you are. You cannot trust yourself and your own inner wisdom if you don't know who you are. If you don't know your own inner wisdom, if you are not sure in yourself, you're just out here winging it, man, and blaming everybody else. That's why it tickles me when people go, how do you trust that politician? Shit, I don't. I trust me. I don't trust politicians. It was funny. I was in this seminar back in 2017. I'll never forget. I was in this seminar, and it's a room full of people. And the guys leading the seminar, they were saying to everyone, listen, every single person in here, when you came into this room, you looked around for the seat where you believed you would be safest, and then that's where you went to seat. Most of you scanned the entire room. You scanned the room and you looked around and you sat down where you thought you were going to be safest, right? And I raised my hand and I said, what if you don't do that? He said, yes, you do. And I said, no. I didn't look around the room. I just went to the seat for me. I didn't look to see who was sitting behind me, around me, whatever, right? And he said, come up here. Let's do some work on that, right? So he starts to ask me a bunch of questions about how do I know this and how do I know that and whatever. And then he said this to me. And he said, you know what? You didn't look around the room because you've decided nowhere is safe. And the only safe space is within you. And I said, that would be accurate. That would be accurate. I'm not looking for anybody else to ever make me safe, ever. But here's the thing. How did I get that way? Because life taught me very early that nowhere is safe. Max, I don't know what you're talking about. We're not talking about Democrats and Republicans. But when you know that, right? I'm not looking for anything outside, right? What's up, gummy nerd? Alaikum salam, Abu Samir. And so this is so Rebel Mood, I don't need to observe people coming and going. The only thing I don't do is I don't sit with my back to the door. But that's the PTSD thing. That's the military in me. You know what I mean? When you, I know, Scott, I know. So you know what? Jen Simpson says, you look around to see who looks borderline unhinged. Let me tell you something. The person who looks borderline unhinged is probably safe. This is what's so funny to me. People say that. I look around for the person who looks crazy. They're probably the safest people in the room. Have y'all noticed every time we have a damn mass pure or a serial unaliver, what do they say? Well, damn, that damn Dennis, he was just the nicest guy ever. I would have never thought it was Dennis. Listen, the real crazy people blend in. The real crazy people are normal. If they gave off danger signals, people would run the other way. never have victims. I give this example all the time. And then I do want to dig in and let y'all hear her testimony. But listen, I give this example all the time. I'm going to tell you about two different people, right? I'm going to tell you about two different people. You ready? One is he's been married for 30 some years. He's like a deacon in his church. He's a Eagle Scout leader. He's a father of, two children, three children. He's a park ranger, takes care of the animals, all the things. The other guy kidnaps, rapes, tortures, and unalives girls and women. The problem is both of those two people are the same person. That is Dennis Rader, the BTK. I just described him. Both of those people that I just described is BTK. See, this is what people want. We want to believe that we can recognize the danger. We want to believe that people are monsters. We want to believe that because, oh my God, if he's not a monster, if he's able to be a happily married man and raise children, how will I ever know when danger is coming my way? We want things to be able to be put in little categories and boxes. That is not the way that human beings work. We want things to be black and white, and life is a big ass ball of gray. The only thing that you can rely on is your gut, your inner wisdom, and you can only rely on it when you've done your work so that it is not compromised by your trauma. Let me say that part again. You can only trust your gut when you have done your work and your inner wisdom is not compromised by your trauma. And then you've got to have tools and mechanisms for when you're uncertain, when you're unsure. How do you get clarity? How do you know for sure? Good morning, little bird. So, sin, the problem is that your brain will make you question your discernment 100 times. And people will oftentimes mistake their discernment, mistake their trauma as discernment. 100%. But when we can have conversations and we can explore these types of things in an environment where we are safe, where we're not looking to judge, to shame, and to blame, we can, hey, Carla, we can make progress. We can discover how we got to a place where a mob of 1,000 white people burned down Black Wall Street in Tulsa and unalived 300 Black people. We can get to a place where we can talk about how this got avoided in our history books, how this didn't get taught, how it just got covered up. Why does it make them uncomfortable? I'm not them. I couldn't tell you. Appreciate you, Rebecca. You know, y'all know I'm a true crime girl, right? So I'm up here and I'm watching true crime one day, And Mila says something to me about, she says, why are they arresting that guy? And I caught myself because do you know what I almost said? Well, they went and got the bad guy. Ooh, I caught myself and I said, well, honey, they had to go get the guy that did the bad thing. The bad thing he did is not the entirety of who he is. So I'm not going to call him the bad guy. There's no good guy and bad guy. There's the guy that did the good or the bad thing. There's just the guy that did the good or the bad thing. There's just the girl that did the good or the bad thing. And we've got to be doing that all the time. All the time. You know, my mom and I have had a conversation about Trump because she hates him. I don't hate the man. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't love him. And I don't hate him. And the reason I don't is because I make myself see him for more than just what he does. I make myself remember the little boy, Donald Trump, that wanted his father's approval. I make myself remember. That. But that's my choice because I don't want to ever be someone that completely forgets somebody else's experience. You follow me? It is sad that that's the person he became. It's really sad. Can you imagine? When we look at children, when we look at babies when they're born, nobody looks at their children and just thinks, you know, when we think about all the things that they could be, we don't ever think about they'll be a rapist or they'll be an unaliver or they'll be a whatever. I don't love the man. I don't have anything for him. I just also don't hate him. And the way that I keep myself in this place, because if I truly believe in humanity, right? No, Melinda, I think that people can do evil things. No, I think that we want to say things like that. Oh, so-and-so's just evil. No, we want to say that because we don't want to be responsible for the world that we've created that made somebody become that. It's much easier to say people are evil and it's the damn devil than to take account that this is the world that we have created. We did this. We better stop blaming babies for pew-pewing up schools. We better start asking what the hell kind of place did we create that that's what our babies are doing? You know, sometimes I sit and I think about, you know, we talk about the United States of America is the leader. Is there anyone I hate? No. Nope. Nope. Not a single soul. Not a single soul. You know, I love that show, Rachel. Yeah. I'm just saying, folks, this is the part where you either really truly want to make change or you don't. And if you don't, you'll make excuses for not doing your work. Do we really want a better place for our kids and our babies? What if I told you that in doing your work, you could save the world for your kids and your grandkids? What if I told you that you didn't have to do anything for anybody else? You didn't have to change anybody else. You just had to become responsible for your own thoughts, for your own actions, for your own words. Just saying, folks. I want to play this 6-minute video, and I want us to listen to Miss Viola. Miss Viola Fletcher passed away yesterday. She was one of the last 2 known survivors of the Tulsa race massacre. And what in her remarks, she actually talks about what it was like before, what happened during, and what it was like after. And give me 1 second so that I can pull up hers real quick. Here we go. All right. So before I hit play on this, can I get someone just to very, very quickly give me a break real quick? And then I will play this. And then probably in about 15 minutes, I'll open up the panel. Okay. So appreciate you, Lisa. I saw you pop right on up. Good gosh. Both of y'all work for me.
Hey, Steve. Hi, Lise. Hi, everyone.
How you doing, darling?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good. So, hi, guys. Welcome in. Make sure you did your heart knees when you came in, and do all the things, and make sure you go back and collect your points. Thank you, Cammie, for grabbing Stacy at the same time. I love it. I freaking love it. And make sure you share out the live, repost it, post it to your story, do all those things. The comments are great. Keep them coming. Also, when you leave here, make sure you go to Dani's profile and watch her videos that you haven't watched yet. Watch them all the way through, and then start at the bottom. Favorite, comment, and like. You want to add anything, Stace?
Just the four tenets of the live. No spamming. Be respectful. Nobody slurring or calling anybody any slurs, and name calling on no matter what side they're on and their opinions that they share. Do not use all caps, and do not spam the comment.
Excellent. So I love that Dani's talking about this today. I've been digging into my new book, the People's History of the United States. And there's a theme, ladies, in the beginning. And the theme is that white men were afraid of poor white people and people of color, whether that was natives or black people or anything else, joining together and overthrowing them.
Still are.
And they still are. It's a theme that they have kept. They are like, I can't tell you how scared they are. Like, there's so many journals, right? It's firsthand accounts from the people themselves. So many journals where they are so fearful of uprisings. And what do they keep doing? It's the same playbook. They tell the poor whites that they're better than the people of color and that they hold higher status, and the people of color are going to try to take from them. And if the people of color have anything, the poor whites will have less. And it works every time, and that's why they keep using it.
Every single time.
frustrating. I just wanted to scream. I just wanted to grab a pillow and scream into it the other day when I was listening.
Yep.
Because after like the 10th story, and we're going through time, and we make it up to the 1800s, and it's still the same. In this instance, I was like, I already know what you're going to say, sir. I already fucking know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Dani, you know the speech that Eddie Glaude gave on MSNBC? Did you see it?
Girl.
It was after, it was, I'm thinking you might have seen it because it was before you quit MSNBC. This was after, I think, the first Trump presidency. And they're talking about how Trump is making all these things happen, and he's bringing out the worst in people, and people are losing their minds, and the racists. And he was like, listen, let me tell you something. He was like, this is us.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that speech. She was like, well, amen, right? Like, I mean,
It's literally what I said yesterday.
Yeah.
It's literally
through like a couple of accounts of the things that were happening, and he was like, we see this over and over. He said, this is the ugly underbelly of this country.
yes. Yes.
Right? People freaking out over biracial kids on cereal boxes. Every time we think we're making it a little bit of headway, because this is us. And until we have a reckoning about who us is, it's never going to stop.
It's going to keep going. But this is the thing. I just saw somebody put in the comments, it's never been this emboldened under any administration. Bullshit, it has. They used to hang us in trees.
Right. You didn't live through it.
No, it has been.
Right. That is the epitome of centering yourself and thinking the world revolves around you. Like shit didn't happen until it happened to you. Think about it, folks. Folks were dragged over here. Millions, I think it was like 1.5 million people didn't even make it here.
Yeah.
In
the bottom of the ocean.
In the bottom of the ocean, right? And then they were here, and they were picking cotton. They was giving birth in the field.
Yeah.
Let's be clear here. This is not the worst that has ever happened. It's just the worst you've ever had to live with.
And that's what I said last year. Stacey, you remember when we were talking and I said, so many white people are talking about how horrible this is and whatever. And I said, this is just the first time you've ever had to been scared about something happening to you.
Yep.
For Black and brown people, we're just like, welcome to the party.
Yes. Right.
Like,
that's why they keep history out of our reach, because as soon as we start connecting the dots, that is when we will be able to disrupt it.
This is the thing. So like, this is the part. Okay. So I've said this for a long time. I don't love politics. The conversation that we are having today, this is the part that I love. The benefit of the conversation that we're having today is that it inevitably changes politics, because politics is just the policy designed by the people.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And when we do the damn work, right, and we dig all the way in, that's how we fix the rest of it. You know what's so crazy? That was all we want to do is change. We want to get rid of the Electoral College. We want to have more than two parties. And then we want to have term limits. And we think that's going to fix everything. That isn't going to do shit, because the people will be the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My friend Dasan and I, we've had this argument for a long time now, because he's a big change the systems guy. And I'm a big fix the people person, right? I'm not fix either, but like heal the people person. Because what I know beyond anything else is that even if the system is broken, when the people are healed, they still do the right thing.
Right.
That's why we have judges that have compassion, that run their courtrooms in a way that is great. That's why we have police officers like, what's his name? Tommy, whatever, down in Alabama, South Carolina, Georgia, whoever it was. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Officer Tommy that sits on the damn porches with the kids in the neighborhood, and they love him, and he's actually a public servant. He's actually a community resource, right? Arkansas. Thank you, Janelle. But This is what I'm saying. In the midst of the most broken systems, people that have done their work, that are doing the healing, they still do good within those systems. And so this is my thing, is if we focus on people, we will inevitably fix the systems, because the systems are a reflection of us.
JMB, we thought, she said, she was like, we thought we were on the other side of the civil rights movement, but you got to understand the civil rights movement, that the laws that they created, the people that had fought against those laws had backdoored away to undermine those laws and had intended on undermining them from the jump, so that we were always going to get here.
Listen, the civil rights movement was the bare ass minimum. I need for y'all to understand this. When we say we thought we were on the other side of what? Not being able to go to school or buy a house or be a person or marry the person you love. Like, on the other side of what? The civil rights movement was the bare ass minimum. Oh, you can't tell me I can't go to this school. You can't tell me I can't rent this house. That's the bare ass minimum. The civil rights movement did not bring us to the place of embracing our differences. It made us, matter of fact, let me tell you something. In many ways, some people are going to be mad at me when I say this, but in many ways, the civil rights movement did harm, because it forced white people, especially in the South, to have Black people in their spaces when they did not want them, and they did not equip anybody for the work. I am literally a product of the loving generation. They didn't teach white teachers how to raise how to help Black children. When they sent us into schools, nobody was equipped. Nobody was equipped, and they damn sure didn't know how to handle all the variations that came with it. Right? I got to be N-word over here, but then I got to be zebra and Oreo and half-breed over here. Like, we wasn't ready. We changed laws, and we did not change the hearts and minds of people. Mm-hmm. Y'all, you can change laws every day. If you do not change the hearts and minds of people, it is still the same. I'm just saying, we will just end up right back here.
So true.
So
and that's the thing. Like, as long as we stay the way we are, and we don't heal, and we don't get right with each other in this country, the people in power, every time they feel their power slipping away just a little bit, they'll be able to turn that switch on.
Yep.
And that's when they take it from dog whistle to overt racism, but it's always boiling under the surface, ready to be turned on.
Let me tell you something. For the person who says, "Are we ready now?" The answer is, if we weren't ready, we wouldn't be here.
Daddy's moving.
So let me say this to you all very clearly. Stop asking yourself if everybody is ready. Ask you, are you ready? And if you are ready, are you doing the work necessary to get ready? Or are you someone that is busy telling everybody we ain't ready and perpetuating the shit that is keeping us from being ready? I know nobody likes that right there, but listen, stop asking yourself if everybody else is ready. Ask yourself, are you ready? And are you doing the work that is necessary to be a positive part of getting us all ready? Are you ready? Yeah, I got you, Stace. Appreciate you, sis. All right. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Stacy. I am going to play this 6-minute video. While I play this 6-minute video, if the brothers or Wadme or somebody is in here that can type this in Arabic, that would be great. When I bring folks up, I just need everybody to stay on mute for me so that we don't impact the algorithm. And I want to play this video while we do that. So if somebody could do that, that would be great. And yes, I have a headache. Just ignore me. That's why I'm eating the crackers. I'm wondering if that's the problem. All right. Y'all know the way that this works. If you have magic beans and you are able to share, then do so. If you do not sweat it. Trust that the energy will be honored, and we will be good. No, they're not potato crackers. They're club crackers, I think, something like that. Oh my God, my head is really hurting. God, I hope somebody types in there that I need people to just not talk. That's really what I need people to not do. Cam, you laughing at me?
Yeah, Wadme is she was just here.
I know. I don't see her though. I know. I don't see her though. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be what it is. Do I have symmetry? Nope. I don't even know.
Dax, where did you get that from?
What did Dax say? Oh, Dax done went and got it somewhere.
She must have copied and pasted it from another lot or from the last. The last where did she get that from?
Love it. Yeah, Vix, we put it on everything. True statement. True statement. Listen, I do know you all that it is a holiday week. So
Hello, Dani. How are you?
I'm good. Sammy, how are you? Oh, yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, I don't know why I have it right now. I don't know why I have this headache right now. Okay, so y'all, every other box is gonna be our friends. And then I'm gonna play this video real quick. What do I have right now? Okay, I need to do another one. Alaikum salam. I need to do. I am trying to. Okay. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
Salam, Dani.
Salam. I am doing my darndest. I got 1, 2. Okay, y'all switched over there. It's okay. I will do. I am trying to see who I have that wasn't up yesterday.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you're still using Cat Sheet, but there is a column now that gives the date when they were last up to kind of help.
Oh, she didn't even give me access, Cam.
Oh, okay.
She told me that she made it. She said if I needed access at some point to let her know. But yeah.
So it's just helpful to kind of
absolutely
keep track of who was up when, because then that way I can kind of
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm just gonna do salam. Okay. All right. So y'all, I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, fine, thank you.
Yeah.
What about you?
Alhamdulillah. Headache, but I'm good.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so folks, you guys, Cam, can we throw timers up? And boxes with timers are great for magic beans. I know that it is a holiday week, and they may be limited or whatever. So if we could try the 1.5, that's great. If not, you know what I mean? Do what you can. All right, I'm going to play this video for everybody. Boxes with timers 1.5 is the goal. Appreciate you guys very, 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 very much. And here we go. This is Miss Viola. She passed away yesterday at 111 years old. She is one of the only 2 known survivors from the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. She is testifying in this video. She is testifying before Congress in 2021. And she is going to be talking about kind of what it was like before, what happened, and what it was like after. Yeah, no worries, Carla. No worries. Like I know, I get it, I got it, y'all. Deep breaths. It's all good. I know what groceries are like in this country. I really do. All right, here we go. Matter of fact, because I gotta get some today. So here we go.
You should have given me the chance to truly make it felt safe. Halt.
Okay.
Ellis and John Webb.
Of the Tulsa Race Massacre. She was 7 years old when she lived through the massacre.
She was 7.
Mother Fletcher, you are now recognized to testify.
They call her Mother Fletcher. Appreciate you guys.
Is the microphone on?
Yes. My name is that okay. My name is Viola Ford Fletcher. I'm the daughter of Lucinda Ellis and John Wesley Ford of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm the sister of Hughes Van Ellis, who is also here today. I'm a survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre. 2 weeks ago, I celebrated my 107th birthday.
She looked up at him too when she said it, y'all.
Today, I'm visiting Washington, D.C. for the first time in my life. I'm here seeking justice, and I'm asking my country to acknowledge what happened in Tulsa in 1921. On May 31st in 21, I went to bed at my family's home in Greenwood. Neighbors of Tulsa, the neighborhood I felt asleep in that night, was rich, not just in terms of wealth, but in culture, community, heritage, and my family had a beautiful home. We had great neighbors, and I had friends to play with. I felt safe. I had everything a child could need. I had a bright future ahead of me. Greenwood could, Still, Greenwood should have given me the chance to truly make it in this country. Within a few hours, all of that was gone. The night of the massacre, I was awakened by my family. My parents and 5 siblings were there. I was told we had to leave, and that was it. I will never forget the violence of the white mob when we left our home. I still see Black men being shot, Black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire. I still see Black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams. I have lived through the massacre every day. Our country may forget this history, but I cannot. I will not. And other survivors do not. And our descendants do not. When my family was forced to leave Tulsa, I lost my chance of an education. I never finished school past the 4th grade. I have never made much money in my country. State and city took a lot from me. Despite this, I spent time supporting the war effort in the shipyards of California. But most of my life, I was a domestic worker serving white families. I never made much money, but to this day, I can barely afford my everyday needs. All the while, the city of this Tulsa have unjustly used the names and stories of victims like me to enrich myself and its white allies through the 30s million raised by the Tulsa Centennial Commissioner while I was continuing to live in poverty. I am a 107-year-old and have never seen justice. I pray that one day I will. I have been blessed with a long life and have seen the best and the worst of this country. I think about the terror, horror inflicted, upon Black people in this country every day. This subcontinued committee has the power to lead us down a better path. I'm asking that my country acknowledge what has been happened to me, the traumas and the pain, the loss, and I ask survivors and descendants to be given a chance to seek justice, open the door. All of you know how easy it is to deny that a violent mob threatened your lives and took your property. For 70 years, the city of Tulsa and its Chamber of Commerce told us that the massacre didn't happen, like we didn't see it with our own eyes. You have me here right now. You see Mother Randall, you see my brother Hughes Van Ellis. We live this history and we can't ignore it. It's our lives with us. Oh my goodness. We lost everything that day, our homes, our churches, our newspapers, our theaters, our lives. Greenwood represented all the best of what was possible for Black people in America and for all the people. No one cared about us for almost 100 years.
Yep.
We and our history have been forgotten, washed away. This Congress must recognize us and our history. For Black America, for the white Americans, and for all Americans, with that's some justice. This is it. Thank you.
Do you want to say anything else?
I thought it was another page.
Do you want to say anything else?
Mhm.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Her grandson's
No,
asking her.
no, that's not.
Thank you very much. We appreciate very much your testimony.
I need for you all to I want to, she makes me emotional. I want you all to understand that she said that Oklahoma told her that it did not happen. Can you imagine being told what you've lived isn't happening? If you listen to her, that's what she said. Her brother testified the same day as well. That's Hughes Van Ellis. They were denied. The Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed their case. They said that it did not rise. Hold on, I'm going to tell you what they said. Give me 1 second. Hold on a second. I had it pulled up and I might have accidentally closed it. Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed Viola Fletcher case. 300, Jan B. They dismissed the lawsuit that was filed by Viola Fletcher and Leslie Benningfield Randall. They ruled that, listen to this, they ruled that their public nuisance claim, while legitimate, did not fall within the scope of the state's public nuisance statute. The court's decision affirmed a lower court's ruling that the allegations did not sufficiently support claims for unjust enrichment or the unauthorized use of name and likeness. And what they're referring to is you heard her say that they used the names of the survivors. They used the names of the people in Black Wall Street to make money. And that's what her suit was. And so this lawsuit sought reparations for the victims of the massacre and their descendants, including punitive damages, a compensation fund, and a scholarship fund for descendants of the residents living in Greenwood when the violence took place. And the Oklahoma Supreme Court denied that. I want to share with you all a little bit about it. So this is what I'm reading from right now, is from the African American History Museum and Culture Museum. In 1921, Tulsa boasted a well-developed, middle-class African American community concentrated in a neighborhood called Greenwood. When a Black teen was falsely accused of assaulting a white woman, many local whites used the event as a reason to attack this strong Black community. Hella, 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 Raja. So I want to just say that part again in case you all, I don't know about you all, but as soon as I say that part, I immediately, my brain goes Emmett Till. Like immediately my brain goes Emmett Till, right? Because that is the claim. You should remember that clip from Birth of a Nation, right? You should remember the part of Birth of a Nation where you see the white woman willing to throw herself off a cliff rather than be raped by the Black man, right? And so it was a Black teenager who was falsely accused of assaulting a white woman. And they used this as the reason to attack this Black community. From May 31st to June 1st, white mobs looted and burned more than 1,000 homes, businesses, and churches. And they unalived dozens of African Americans in the deadliest massacre in U.S. history. 300 of them, as a matter of fact. In the aftermath, B.C. Franklin, a successful African-American lawyer who had survived the massacre, detailed the long-lasting devastation of the event on the entire community, including a WW1 veteran named John Ross and his family. The acts of survivors bearing witness often provide truthful understandings of the past, becoming indispensable elements of justice and reconciliation, which she never received. Let's just be clear. Viola Fletcher, Mama Fletcher, passed yesterday at the age of 111 years of age, having never received justice or restitution at all. I'm going to share with you the testimony of her brother as well. Yeah, they gave her a standing ovation, but then didn't do anything.
Mother Fletcher, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. So thank you for putting us on the right course to learn and to understand and to do better.
Thank you.
Are you the older of the two siblings?
The older?
Are you older than your brother here?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
So he's used to having a tough act to follow. Our next witness is Mr. Hughes Van Ellis, known as Uncle Red.
Yes.
He's a World War II veteran, having served in the United States Army in the China, Burma, India Theater of Operations as a member of an all-Black unit. He's also a survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Uncle Red, you're on.
Chairman Ranking Member Johnson and member of the subcommittee. My name is Hughes Van Ellis. I am 100 years old, and I am a survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Because of the massacre, my family was driven out of our home. We were left with nothing. We were made records in our own country, county. My childhood was hard and we didn't have much. We worried what little we worried what little we had would be stolen from us, just like it was stolen in Tulsa.
Yep.
You may have been taught that when something is stolen from you, you will go to the courts to be made whole. You can go to the courts to get justice. This wasn't the case for us. The courts in Oklahoma wouldn't hear us.
No, I
The
don't.
federal courts said we were.
Why does it say
too late.
I identify as a member of the
We were
LGBTQIA
made to
community?
feel
What?
that our struggle was unworthy of justice, that we were less valued than whites, that we weren't fully Americans.
Thanks, Cam.
We were shown that in the United States, not all men were equal under the law. We were shown that when Black voices called out for justice, no one cared.
Hmm.
But we still had faith. Things would get
Yeah, it was an account.
better. We still believe in the promise of America in the cases of freedom. I did my duty in World War II.
Thank you, Joanna.
I served in combat in the Far East with the 234th AAA Gun Battalion. We were all Black battalion. I fought for freedom aboard, even though it was ripped away from me at home. Even after my home and my community were destroyed. It's because I believe in the end, America would get its right. When I returned home from the war, I didn't find any of this freedom. I was fighting for overseas. Unlike white servicemen, I wasn't entitled to GI Bill benefits because of the color of my skin.
Yep.
I came home to segregation, a separate and unequal America. But still, I believed in America. This is why we are still speaking up today. Even at this age of 100, the Tulsa Race Massacre is a footnote in the history books for us. We live with it every day, and the thought of what Greenwood was and what it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't just black and white pictures on a screen.
That's right.
We are flesh and blood. I was there when it happened. I'm still here.
He said, I'm still here.
That's right.
My sister was
He's about to cry.
She's still here.
Mm.
We are not asking for his hands out. All we are asking for is for a chance to be treated like a first-class citizen who truly in the pictures of the promise that this is a land where there is liberty and justice for all. We are asking for justice for a lifetime of ongoing harm that was caused by the massacre. We can give us the chance to be hard and give us a chance to be made whole. After all of these years and after all of our struggle, I still believe in America. I still believe in the ideas that I fought overseas to defend. And we believe if given this chance, I will do the right thing and justice will be served. Please do not let me leave this earth without justice like all the others. Massacre survivors, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
You want to say anything else? You want to say anything else?
I want to say that I appreciate being here, and I hope we all will work together. We are one. We are one.
He's just in tears. Oof. I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put the link to this in the link tree for you. If you heard what he said, he went and he served, and he said, I went over there to fight for a freedom that was ripped from me as a child. And he said, and I came back home and I didn't see this freedom that I fought for. And he said, I wasn't able to get the benefits that the white soldiers did. He said, you might have been told that when someone steals from you, yeah, that's okay, Cam. He said, you might have been told that when someone steals from you, you go to court and the courts will make you whole. And he said, but that hasn't been the case for us. And then if you heard him at the very end, he just said, please do not let me leave this earth without getting justice and being made whole. And, Miss Viola, Mother Viola, passed yesterday. Give me 1 second. He passed 2 years after speaking in Congress. He passed in 2023 at the age of 102, and she passed yesterday at the age of 111. His name is Hughes Van Ellis. Yep, he said, we are not black and white photos. We are living people. I live this. So in the link tree, I put the link for you to be able to go. When you click that link, it's on C-SPAN. What is very helpful is on the right-hand side, there's actually like where the stars are. You can just click it and it will take you right to their testimony. So you can go straight to it to hear what they said. I want to remind everyone what we've been talking about during this entire live. Is the accountability starts with every single one of us. I take what I do and how I use this platform really, really serious. I don't bullshit up here. I don't do stuff just for likes and clicks and views. I try to do things that I believe is meaningful and that will make a difference. And so for me, part of that today was sharing the history of the Tulsa Race Massacre. This discussion around how do we have conversations and unpack the bias and the prejudice and the bigotry and the racism that exists within this country in a way that enables us to move forward. What I'm going to say to the black and brown folks that are listening, okay? While I hope that you share and all of those things, it's really not on you. The people whose responsibility it is to do the heavy lifting on this subject are white Americans. White Americans, this is you, right? This is your opportunity to do the heavy lifting and to share facts and accurate history and perspective and information with the people in your life and the people that are in your circles, right? I talk about this often, and I'm going to say it again, okay? It is always the responsibility of the people who are part of the group that's doing the oppressing, that has committed the error, to do the heavy lifting. It is never, ever the part of the people who have been oppressed, okay? So for me, I'm cis, I'm hetero. So I do the heavy lifting for my LGBTQ plus community. I am a United States citizen. So I do the heavy lifting for my Palestinian brothers and sisters, right? Because my country arms Israel. That is the way that I want you to remember these things. That is the way that I hope that you view what is your responsibility to take on and what isn't. Okay. It is not to make anyone feel bad or feel ashamed or any of that. Right. This is one of the things that I think people miss in these conversations. No one needs you to apologize for what has happened in history. We're not looking for apologies. We're looking for equity. We are looking for action. We are looking for people to take actions that undo the things in the past. Right? That's the part, right? It's not about you trying to make up for, it's about dismantling what exists today. And I'm going to share this with you. This is a question that you have to ask yourself. Okay. If you want to know if racism or sexism or any of the other isms and inequities will ever go away, this is the question that you have to ask yourself. In the group that you belong to that has some sort of privilege, are you willing to give up that privilege to create equity? That's the question, because that is what's required. What is required for equity is the willingness for those with privilege to give it up in order to create equity across the board. If you're not willing to do that, you are absolutely part of the issue. Right? To whom much is given, much is required. And what is given looks different for different people. Like, I am not a millionaire. I'm not Jeff Bezos, but what do I have? I do have a platform. And so if I have a platform, then I can open the door for other people, even if those other people aren't millionaires. If people have $20 or $10 in coins that they can give, then that's what we do. If people have money that they can give via direct supports, then that's what we do, right? Sometimes it's not about being a multimillionaire yourself. It's about leveraging what you do have in a way that puts people in front of other people that can be a part of it. And I want to be clear about something. Do not compare your hardships in America to hardships in Palestine. Don't do that to yourself. Do not do that. Don't do that, folks. You know, I was having this difficult time as I'm thinking about Christmas coming up, and I'm thinking about my grandbabies, and I'm thinking about how much I share with them about what's happening in Gaza. But you know what? It's not their responsibility. It's not my grandbabies, right? Like, they're not the people that need to carry that. It's the Western world. It's the adults in the room. It's the government officials that need to carry it, you know? Appreciate you, DJ, for helping folks out. You know, Lawrence, that's not true. People do give up power and privilege. And if you don't think that they do, I don't know what to say to you. People do. People do. People have. I think people who say that are taking the easy way out. People who say that that doesn't happen, you're taking the easy way out. You're making excuses not to do the work. And folks, let me just say this to you all, like, seriously speaking. I just listened to a 100-year-old man and a 107-year-old woman sit before Congress after enduring an entire massacre, serving their country, serving white people, and still say, I have faith, I believe, I have hope. When I hear it, listen, I can't go, oh, well, it's never changing, just whatever, because, you know, they didn't. You know, I say this often, and I will say it one more time for you. When I get tired, when I get discouraged, when I do all of those things, see you later, Jan B., I think about John Lewis standing on the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday, and he's looking at the other end, and he sees the row of police officers with dogs and billy clubs and all the things. And you can't tell me that's what he wanted to be doing, right? Nobody was excited about the prospect of what they were about to endure. But they walked, right? And we do not get to stop the work that our ancestors did before us. Just saying, folks. Okay? So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts today. I'm going to go ahead, like I said, tomorrow, expect to learn about the Wampanoag tribe, Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. Expect to learn about some Native American history tomorrow, accurate history, not no damn Columbus and the Mayflower and a happy Friendsgiving, because that's not what occurred in this country. And so we're going to talk about real stuff. I do this every year. If you were with me, some of y'all have been with me over a year now. If you were with me last Thanksgiving, we talked about the Wampanoag tribe back then. We do it every year. I just think, this is what we're supposed to do. Let me just say this, folks. When people say, well, it's not my responsibility. If you have the ability to respond, it is your responsibility. If you have the ability to respond, it is your responsibility. Okay. Appreciate you guys for taking care of the folks on the panel and getting them to 1.5K. I really do appreciate it. I know magic beans are low today. Yeah, Columbus was 100% a sociopath. So I will see you all tomorrow. I love you, mean it. I will schedule another Zoom and we will do the implicit bias test together and have some conversations. Do not forget that I have links in my link tree where you can absolutely help people. Steffi, I normally start at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so I will start at 10 a.m. Wednesday, I got to start a little early because I have an earlier stop. Okay. All right, folks. I love you, mean it. Have a good evening. Take care of yourselves. If you are part of my regular crew, don't forget to drop in. Even if you don't have magic beans or the ability to support financially, words of encouragement are very helpful for our friends that live between the river and the sea. Some of them are very down. The rain is taking its toll. And so, if you can't give financially, give your heart, give some good words. Make sure that you click your heart up here at the top. Collect your points. Please collect your points. I love you all back. Kalto, Sandra, love you all back. I will see you all tomorrow. Yeah, some of them are very discouraged. So, yeah, send them some love. Wadmi, I was looking for you earlier, but I'll be back tomorrow, sis. Okay. Love you guys, mean it. Have